So in this lecture, I would like to discuss about the depression in freezing point of the solvent. In the previous lecture, we discussed the elevation in boiling point of the solvent. So what is a freezing point? Freezing point of the liquid is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to that of the solid. Freezing point of the liquid is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to solid. So during the freezing process, the liquid is converted to solid. The liquid is converted to solid. Okay. So therefore, the vapor pressure is goes on decreasing, and the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to the vapor pressure of the solid. So we can say that the freezing point of the liquid is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid becomes equal to that of the solid, into which the liquid freezes under external pressure of 1 atmosphere. Okay, so let us take the example of liquid water. So when uh, the liquid water freezes, so for the freezing process, we have to decrease the temperature. So suppose that take the ice bath here, ice bath, and we have to put that beaker in the ice bath. Okay, and put the thermometer here to see the decrease in the temperature. Okay, put the thermometer to see the decrease in the temperature here. So we can note the freezing point here. So as the temperature is goes on decreasing, the vapor pressure is also goes on decreasing. You can see in the diagram this variation of vapor pressure with temperature. So you can see here, this is the vapor pressure of the solvent, uh, and corresponding temperature is T here. And as we decrease the temperature here, the vapor pressure is also decreases. Okay, and when the vapor pressure, it is reaches to this point, then the solvent freezes at that vapor pressure and at that temperature, and that temperature it is T0. Okay, so T0, it is the freezing point of the solvent. Okay, so during this process, the vapor pressure is goes on decreasing as the temperature becomes goes on decreasing. So when we take the water in a beaker and put into the ice bath, the temperature is goes down, and if we measure the temperature here, one stage will be reaches at which the liquid is converted to the solid. That is the freezing point of the liquid. Okay, so this variation in the vapor pressure with respect to temperature can be seen in this graph. So we start from this solvent here. The temperature is goes on decreasing, vapor pressure is goes on decreasing, and at this point the solvent get converted to solid. If we going to decrease the temperature, the vapor pressure is goes down. So in between this P0 and P dash, the completely the solvent, it is converted into the solid solvent. So here solid solvent is here. Solvent is converted into the solid state. So this is the solid solvent here. Okay. Now this is for the solvent. Now let us see for the solution. Now in case of the solution, as we have added the solute, suppose sodium chloride, then what happens? Due to the addition of the non-volatile solute, the vapor pressure is already decreases for the solution. So corresponding temperature is here, and as we decrease this temperature, the vapor pressure will be decreases here. So this is the freezing point of the solvent. At this temperature, the solvent freezes. So freezing point of the solvent is T, freezing point of the solution is T, and freezing point of the solvent is T0. Corresponding vapor pressure, it is P0 here, corresponding vapor pressure, it is P dash here. So in this way, this graph shows that variation of vapor pressure with temperature for solvent and solution under which the freezing process is takes place, where the liquid is converted to the solid. So you can see here we are getting the 2 points here along this curve, solvent curve. So at vapor pressure P0, corresponding temperature is T0. At vapor pressure P dash, corresponding temperature is T. This is for the solvent. And for the solution, at vapor pressure P, corresponding temperature is T0. And at vapor pressure P dash, the corresponding temperature is T. So let us write this now, and we can apply the equation, that is Clapeyron-Clausius equation, to this. Okay. So for a solvent, first for a solvent. Okay. So at vapor pressure P0, corresponding temperature it is T0, and at vapor pressure P dash, corresponding temperature is T. Then for a solution curve at vapor pressure P, corresponding temperature is T0. Okay, and at vapor pressure P dash, corresponding temperature it is T here. This is for the solution. We have taken the 2 points here. Okay, now let us apply the Clapeyron-Clausius equation to this. 2 vapor pressure, 2 temperatures. Okay, so Clapeyron-Clausius equation, it is ln P1 upon P2, it is equal to minus L upon R into 1 upon T1 minus 1 upon T2. This is the Clapeyron-Clausius equation. 2 temperature, 2 vapor pressure. This L, it is a latent heat of. If the process is vaporization, then it is latent heat of vaporization. If the process is fusion, it is latent heat of fusion. Okay, there are 3 steps you can see here. Liquid is converted to solid, is converted to liquid, liquid is converted to vapor. Okay, so let us write down this process here. Solid is converted to liquid, that is known to us. Then liquid is converted to vapor. Liquid get vaporized, converted to vapor or gas. Okay. Now the conversion of solid to liquid, it is called as, or liquid to solid, it is called as a freezing process. Okay. Or solid to liquid, it is called as a melting process. Melting process. Solid get melts, converted to liquid. Now liquid to vapor, it is called as vaporization. This process, it is called as vaporization. Okay. And solid to directly vapor, some solids are directly converted to vapor, that process it is called as a sublimation. That is called as a sublimation process. So let us see now in this case for a solvent. Okay, once again I would like to show the graph here for solvent. Okay, so the graph will be like this. Okay, you can see here like this. Then this is for the solution, this is for solvent, and this is for solution. Okay, vapor pressure versus temperature. Okay, temperature, vapor pressure against temperature. So at this point the vapor pressure it is P0, then corresponding temperature it is T0 here, that is the freezing point of the solvent, freezing point of the solvent. Then at this point vapor pressure is P dash, corresponding temperature it is T here. Now this is the solid solvent, completely solvent, it is into the solid state. Okay, Now we have taken this point also P, vapor pressure P, corresponding temperature is T0. Okay, so you can see now for a solvent, or you can say that solid solvent, for a solvent curve or solid solvent curve, vapor pressure is P0, corresponding temperature is T0. Vapor pressure is P dash, corresponding temperature is T, you can see here. And this is now solid, and we know that solid may be directly converted to the vapor. Okay, so let us apply the Clapeyron-Clausius equation to this, ln P1 upon P2. So lower vapor pressure, it is P dash, higher vapor pressure, it is now P0. So we can write here ln P dash upon P0, ln P dash upon P0. Okay, higher vapor pressure, it is P0, two vapor pressures. So P1 it is P dash, lower vapor pressure, higher vapor pressure, it is equal to. Now this latent heat, the process it is called as sublimation, because solid is directly converted to vapor here once the solid it is formed. Sometime it is seen that on the ice the vapors are seen there. If you go in the ice factory, then along the ice the vapors are there. Okay, and that process it is called as a sublimation process. Directly solid is converted to the vapor. So we can use here latent heat of sublimation minus Ls. Okay, this process it is a sublimation process. So minus Ls upon R into 1 upon T1, lower temperature it is T. Okay, this 1 upon T1, so it is 1 upon T, minus 1 upon T2, higher temperature it is T0. Okay, so this is equation we get here by applying the Clapeyron-Clausius equation. This is our equation 1. Okay. Then let us apply the Clapeyron-Clausius equation to this solution, this curve. These are the 2 points. Okay, so for solution curve we can apply ln P1 upon P2, lower vapor pressure, once again it is P dash, then higher vapor pressure it is P. Okay, this is the higher vapor pressure. Now this process, solution it is completely into the liquid state here. In between P and P dash, the solution it is into the liquid state. So liquid has a tendency to goes into the vapor state. So the process will be vaporization here. So therefore we can use here LV minus LV upon R. Okay, into 1 upon lower temperature it is T, T1, higher temperature it is T0. So this is equation 2. So understanding of these two equation becomes very, very important. Particularly this LS, latent heat of sublimation, because it is a sublimation process here. The solid solvent, it is converted to the directly to the vapor state, solid to vapor. So this is called as a sublimation process. And in case of the solution in between P and P dash, liquid solution is there. So liquid has a tendency to goes into the vapor state. So therefore it is vaporization. So we are having now equation 1 and equation 2. Okay. Now subtract equation 1 from equation 2. Subtract equation 1 from equation 2. Subtract equation 1. Okay, equation 1 from equation 2. So let us do this. So in this case, if we do this, ln P dash get cancelled. Okay, from equation 2 we are going to be subtract. I would like to write this term now. Left hand side, you can see first left hand side, ln this is P dash minus ln P, this is 1 minus, this is in bracket ln P dash, this is minus ln P0. Okay, now this get cancelled, and this is minus minus plus, so this is positive here. Okay, minus minus plus here, so we are getting here this is having negative sign. Okay, so it is written as, or we can subtract equation 2 from 1 also, that is also correct. Okay, subtract equation 2 from 1, then in that case we can write ln p dash upon ln p0 here. Okay, minus ln p dash. Now this is p only. This is better. Subtract equation 2 from 1. Subtract equation 2 from 1 here. Okay, see, subtract equation uh, subtract equation 2 from 1. Okay, 2 from 1 here. Let us see. So what is this? This is minus minus plus. So ln p upon p0. So we can write here ln p upon p0. This is the left hand side. ln p upon p0, it is equal to. Okay, now it is having the negative sign here. It is having the positive sign. Now right hand side. Now this 1 upon t minus 1 upon t0 and this r, it is a common here. Okay. So let us write here. So this is minus ls minus ls. Okay. Then this is having the minus sign here. So minus in bracket lv. Okay. Divided by minus lv this. Divided by r, it is a common term here. Then we can write here 1 upon t minus 1 upon t0. This conversion is most important here. Okay, on the right hand side we are subtracting this 2 from 1. Okay, so this is minus ls, minus sign out of the square bracket, then this is minus lv upon r. This is a common term here, so this is minus minus plus here. Okay, so we can write here lv minus ls. Now taking the negative sign common there, so 1 minute, wait some time here. Taking the negative sign common there out of the bracket, then we can write this equation in this way. Okay. So you can see here, taking the negative sign common in the this equation. So we can write here. Okay. So ln p upon p0, it is equal to, taking the negative sign now common, minus in bracket. Now this is positive, no? Minus minus plus here. So minus minus plus this. So it is minus LV. It is plus here. Taking negative, LS minus LV, this is now divided by R. In bracket 1 upon T minus 1 upon T0. Okay, 1 upon T minus 1 upon T0 here. This is equation number 3 here. We are getting this equation 3. So remember this equation. Once again, we have to see how we convert this by applying the Clapeyron-Clausius equation. We are writing the two separate equation, equation 1 and equation 2. Subtracting equation 2 from equation 1, we are getting this equation ln p upon p0 minus lv. Once again, you can see here minus lv, minus in bracket minus lv upon r. Okay, and this 1 upon t minus 1 upon t0, it is common. Now negative sign taking out of the bracket here, so it is ls minus lv. Okay, divided by r. So we are getting here this equation 3. So I would like to write the equation 3 here. Okay, 1 minute. See, start from the equation 3. So it is ln p upon p0. ln p upon p0, it is equal to minus ls minus lv upon r in bracket 1 upon t minus 1 upon t0. This is our equation 3. Okay, this is our equation 3. Simplify this equation now. Now we know that solid is converted to liquid. Okay, then liquid is converted to vapor. Liquid is converted to vapor. So conversion of solid to liquid or liquid to solid, it is called as a freezing process. So we have to write here latent heat of fusion. Freezing, latent heat of fusion. This, the heat energy liberated during this process, it is latent heat of fusion. Liquid to vapor, vaporization, it is latent heat of vaporization, LV. And solid to vapor, it is latent heat of sublimation. Therefore we can write here LS, it is equal to solid to vapor. It is a direct process, but in between LF plus LV. So this is nothing but LF plus LV, right? So therefore LF it is equal to LS minus LV. Latent heat of fusion it is equal to latent heat of sublimation minus latent heat of vaporization. So therefore LF it is equal to LS minus LV. We can put now this LF. What is LF here? Latent heat of fusion. So therefore equation 3 can be written as ln P upon P0 it is equal to minus LF upon R. Now latent heat of fusion, negative sign is here, in bracket 1 upon T minus 1 upon T0. Okay, this is equation 4. So this conversion is very important here. Latent heat of sublimation it is equal to fusion plus vaporization. So LS equal to LF plus LV. So LF equal to latent heat of fusion equal to sublimation minus vaporization. So we can put that LF here into this equation. Now let us simplify this equation 4. Okay, so ln P upon P0 it is equal to minus LF upon R. Then this can be simplified as T0 minus T divided by T into T0. T into T0. This is equation 5. Now in equation 5, T0 minus T, it is called as depression in freezing point of the solvent, delta TF. What is depression in freezing point? It is the difference between freezing point of the solvent minus freezing point of the solution. In the graph we have shown this. Okay, depression in freezing point means it is the difference between the freezing point of the solvent minus freezing point of the solution. So T0 minus T it is equal to delta TF. So equation 5 can be written as, so let us write equation 5 ln P upon P0 it is equal to minus LF upon R. Okay, it is delta TF now divided by T into T0. T into T0. So this is equation 6. Now for a dilute solution, if the solution is very dilute, then the freezing point of the solvent and solutions are nearly same. Therefore we can see that T0 it is approximately equal to T. Not so much difference is there for the dilute solution. For a dilute solution, T0 equal to T. Therefore we can say that here T into T0 it is approximately equal to T0 square. What is T0 here? T0 it is the freezing point of the solvent. As the solution is very dilute, amount of the solute becomes very less. So the freezing point of the solution and freezing point of the solvents are nearly same, not so much differ. So we can say that T into T0 equal to T0 square. So this equation can be modified as ln P upon P0 it is equal to minus LF upon R, where LF it is a latent heat of fusion, into delta TF upon T0 square. So we are getting this equation. This is equation 7. Okay. Now let us modify this equation 7. According to the Raoult's law, we know that P upon P0 it is equal to 1 minus x2. Okay. P upon P0 it is equal to 1 minus x2. This is according to the Raoult's law. So substitute this P upon P0 here. So we can write ln 1 minus x2 it is equal to ln 1 minus x2 it is equal to minus LF upon R. Right hand side terms no changes there. So delta TF upon T0 square. Okay. Now the logarithmic expansion of this equation ln 1 minus x2 it is equal to ln 1 minus x2 it is equal to minus x2 minus x2 square by 2 minus x2 cube by 3. Okay, this is the logarithmic expansion of this term. According to the logarithmic series, the expansion can be written in this way. Now once again, for a dilute solution, this ln 1 minus x2 it is equal to minus x2. The higher powers can be neglected because for a dilute solution, X2 is very small. The mole fraction of the solute, it is very, very small. Okay. So the square divided by 2, the cube divided by 3, that value becomes very small. So we can say that ln1 minus x2 is equal to minus x2. So this equation now, this is suppose equation 8. Now equation 8 can be written as, so let us write now the equation 8 here. Okay, ln1 minus x2 it is equal to minus x2. So we can write the equation 8 here. Okay, so you can see, first of all I would like to write the equation 7, ln1 minus x2 it is equal to minus lf upon r into delta tf upon t0 square. This is our suppose equation 7. Now we know that ln1 minus x2 it is equal to minus x2 for the dilute solution. So minus minus plus here. So we can write this x2 equal to lf upon r into delta tf upon t0 square. Okay. Now we can write this equation in this way. Delta tf it is equal to rt0 square divided by lf into x2 This is equation 8. Okay. So in this equation, depression in freezing point, this delta tf, it is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute. Delta tf, it is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute. Why? Because r is constant. R is a constant term. Then T0, that is the freezing point of the solvent, it cannot be changed. Suppose if we consider water is the solvent, freezing point of the water it is 273 Kelvin. So that is also the constant term. And this latent heat of fusion per mole, that is LF, it is also constant. So all these three terms are constant there. Therefore, we can say that depression in freezing point of the solvent, it is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute. Okay. So it depends upon the mole fraction of the solute. This value will be changes according to the change in the mole fraction of the solute. Okay. If the mole fraction of the solute will be higher, depression in freezing point will be higher here. Okay. So you should understand this. Now let us proceed further now. Simplify equation 8. We know that mole fraction of the solute it is equal to number of moles of the solute divided by number of moles of the solvent and solute. This is according to the definition of the mole fraction. Mole fraction it is equal to number of moles of that component divided by total number of moles of the component. So in this case, two components are there, solute and solvent. So mole fraction of the solute it is equal to number of moles of the solute divided by N1 plus N2. Now once again for a dilute solution. Many times now here we consider dilute solution because in case of the dilute solution, very dilute solution, the amount of the solute it is very, very less. Okay. So in case of the dilute solution, this N1 plus N2 denominator, it is approximately equal to N1 because N2 is very small for a dilute solution. What is N2? N2 is the number of moles of the solute. So the value of the N2 is very small. Suppose that it is this is 1. Number of moles of the solvent it is 1 and it is like this 0.001. So if you are adding this, what is the value? 1.001. So it is approximately equal to N1. Therefore, we can say that for a very dilute solution, N1 plus N2 equal to N1. So we can write here X2 it is equal to okay, N2 upon N1. Number of moles of the solute divided by number of moles of the solvent. So this equation now can be written as equation 8. So delta TF it is equal to so we can write this equation now. Delta TF it is equal to LF upon R, RT0 square divided by LF into N2 upon N1. Okay. Now in this case, N2 it is equal to number of moles of the solute, it is equal to weight of the solute divided by molecular weight of the solute, where W2 it is the weight of the solute and M2 it is the molecular weight of the solute. Then N1 it is equal to W1 upon M1, where W1 it is the weight of the solvent and M1 it is the molecular weight of the solvent. So put this into this equation N2 upon N1. Okay, so we can write this equation now. Suppose this is equation 9. Okay, equation 9 can be written as delta TF, it is equal to RT0 square divided by LF, latent heat of fusion per mole, multiplied by N2, so it is W2 upon M2. Okay, now it is divided here N1, so M1 goes to the numerator, so it is M1 upon W1. So we can write this equation in this way. This is equation 10. Okay, now we know that this latent heat of fusion LF, what is this? Latent heat of fusion, latent heat of fusion, this is latent heat of fusion per mole. Okay, and small LF, it is latent heat of fusion per gram, latent heat of fusion, latent heat of fusion per gram. So let us convert capital LF to small LF. Okay, so this is divided by molecular weight of the solvent. So LF it is equal to, small LF it is equal to capital LF divided by molecular weight of the solvent, that is M1. Okay, when we are dividing this by molecular weight, then this per mole get cancelled here. Latent heat of fusion, it is latent heat of fusion per mole. So molecular weight, it is having the unit per mole. So per mole get cancelled. This is per gram now. So therefore LF it is equal to, capital LF it is equal to small LF into M1. Okay, so we can substitute this now. Small LF, it is the latent heat of fusion per gram. So equation 10 can be written as, so remember this. Now let us write equation 10 here once again. So we can proceed further for the derivation now here. So this is equation 10, it is delta TF, it is equal to RT0 square divided by this capital LF into W2 upon M2 into M1 upon W1. This is equation 10 here. Now we know that this capital LF, it is equal to LF into M1. Okay, latent heat of fusion per gram multiplied by molecular weight. So delta TF, it is equal to RT0 square divided by this LF into M1. Okay, into W2 upon M2 into M1 upon W1. We can simplify now. This M1 get cancelled here. Okay, so we can write now this equation delta TF, it is equal to RT0 square divided by small LF. Now what is small LF? Latent heat of fusion per gram. Try to understand the difference between the capital LF and small LF. Latent heat of fusion per gram, this is, so it is into, this is W2 upon M2 into W1. So we are getting this equation, equation 10 now here. Now equation 10 can be written as delta TF, it is equal to, multiply the denominator by 1000 and numerator by 1000. So we can write here RT0 square divided by LF into 1000, LF into 1000 multiplied by 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1. Okay, now in this equation, this term, it is nothing but molality according to the definition of the molality. According to the definition of the molality, molality small m, it is equal to number of moles of the solute, number of moles of solute per kg of the solvent, per kg of the solvent. So molality m, it is equal to, okay, W2 upon M2, it is the number of moles of the solute, N2. Number of moles of the solute, it is W2 upon M2 divided by W1 gram of the solvent, weight of the solvent, it is W1 gram. So convert this W1. So we can write this molality, it is equal to W2 upon M2 divided by W1 divided by 1000. Okay, divided by 1000. Gram is converted to kg, because according to the definition, it is number of moles per kg. So 1000 goes to the numerator here. So we can write molality, it is equal to W2 upon M2 into 1000 divided by W1. So this is the definition of the molality. We can calculate the molality according to this. So in this equation, we can put here molality here. Then in this equation, R is constant, T0 is constant, LF is constant. So this term can be written as, okay, so we can write here delta TF, it is equal to KF into molality. This is molality and this is KF. Now what is KF here? KF, it is called as molar depression constant. Molar depression constant. This KF, it is called as molar depression constant. Okay, and M is the molality. So this is supposed to be equation 11. So according to this equation 11, we can say that delta TF, it is directly proportional to the molality. Because Kf is a constant term, it is molar depression constant for the solvent. So delta TF, it is directly proportional to the molality of the solute. So it means that depression in freezing point of the solvent, it is directly proportional to the molality of the solute here. Okay, molality of the solute here. So try to understand about this. Now we can modify this equation. Delta TF, it is equal to KF into, substitute molality here, this equation. Okay, so we can write molality here. So into 1000 into W2. This is molality 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1. Okay, M2 into W1. And finally, we can obtain here the derivation, that is molecular weight M2, it is equal to molecular weight M2, it is equal to. So it is equal to 1000 into KF into W2 divided by delta TF into W1. So this is our final equation, that is equation 12. Okay, so let us write here equation 12. Write here equation 12 that can be obtained according to this. Delta TF, it is equal to KF into molality. So we substitute molality here. So molality, it is equal to 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1 here. Okay, this is according to the definition of the molality. So we can write here delta TF, it is equal to, so KF into 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1, where M2, it is called as the molecular weight of the solute, and the final equation, it is M2, it is equal to this is 1000 here. So 1000 multiplied by KF into W2, this is divided by delta TF into W1. So in this equation, M2, it is the molecular weight of the solute. Okay, Kf, it is the molar depression constant. W2, it is the weight of the solute. Delta TF, it is the depression in freezing point of the solvent, and W1, it is the weight of the solvent. So in this way, we derive the derivation of the molecular weight, which is related to the depression in freezing point of the solvent. So M2, it is related to delta TF. Okay, so this is our final equation. Suppose it may be equation 12 or 13. So in this way, we derive here the derivation for depression in freezing point of the solvent, which is related to the molecular weight.